Welcome back to another episode of Don't Take Us Seriously. And this week, we got some heat for y'all. So we know y'all been liking our fantasy segment. And, through 2 weeks of football, this segment is QB woes. Now, we know some of y'all favorite QBs have been up, down, in between. But here's where we dissect what they got going on and their value to your team. Coming in hot for y'all Steelers fans, your boy Kenny Pickett. Now, we know y'all like to blame it on the offensive line. A lot of people want Matt Canada's head. But at the end of the day, Kenny just ain't getting it done. The numbers show it's rough. You can blame play calling, you can blame offensive line play, but at the end of the day, the quarterback has to make the throws. And in that Browns game the other day, he wasn't making them. He made a couple, but he wasn't making them.
George Pickens saved that man last night. Let's just call it what it was. Kenny Pickett is not really ready. He's not. He hasn't been ready. Last year, the man had 10 touchdowns and 9 picks and 4 fumbles. Come on now. Kenny Pickett is not the answer. He's not the savior. The line will be the scapegoat. Matt Canada will be the scapegoat. Blame your quarterback. He's the problem.
That defense that had him in that tier 3 book bag carrying him to the promised land.
Yeah, that is the truth. That is the truth. Any fantasy owners out there, you might as well go ahead and drop Kenny Pickett if you was having him for a stash. Go ahead and drop him because that's not a worthy stash. If you needed him for dynasty, go ahead and drop him because I'll tell you right now, you'd be better off with Baker Mayfield than you would with Kenny Pickett. If you in that situation, you in fantasy purgatory. On to the next one, Deshaun Watson, and it looked bad. And it hurts as an Ohio native to say this, but he doesn't look like the same player that he did in Houston. Houston, it looks like we have a problem. And Cleveland's got the same problem because Deshaun is just not the answer right now. On a brighter note, though, a couple of those turnovers, they weren't his fault. Tight end dropped one. It hasn't all been on him since the start for Deshaun this year. But with this type of roster, you got to expect 18 to 20 points out of your quarterback.
Honestly, man, if you drafted him like round 7 and later, you're still getting value, right? You're still getting value for what he's given. But if you drafted him any earlier than that, I'm sorry. Any earlier, I apologize. On the bright side, though, I can't say it's a bright side because Nick Chubb's hurt. That hurts my soul. They have to throw the ball more now, which could potentially lean more into Deshaun Watson's value going forward. So potential upside coming. And for the next one, Trevor Lawrence. I'll let you sit on your own sword with this one. You got it.
Well, I'll tell you, the next one is Trevor Lawrence. And don't overreact about this start so far. Pump the brakes. Because Trevor Lawrence, week 1, I get it. It actually should have been more, but there are some implications that happened that ended up stopping it from being a 30-point week. Week 2 was very underwhelming given against the Chiefs. Everyone expected a shootout, and Trevor, he pretty much laid it from what it looked like. Now, going forward, it's going to look more like week 1 than it was in week 2. And it's probably going to look better than that because with these weapons, there's no way that it's not going to blow up even more.
Yeah, man, I would like to lean on the side of talent, but like he has to show me. Now, granted, a couple of scenarios for Trevor in week 1 weren't particularly his fault. Good balls, a couple of toe taps didn't happen to prevent a couple of touchdowns. I can't doubt him too much. Trevor's fantasy value should still be there, especially in that division.
But I will say, though, one last thing, though, on it. There's no way Press Taylor deserves to still have his play calling duties at this point in time because that man is an abomination. So that's the only thing that can hurt your fantasy value with Trevor Lawrence. But if they're somehow able to protect Trevor and let him get to his full potential, like he will likely, don't be surprised when he's a QB1 or QB2 at the end of the fantasy season. Don't go crazy. But you know what? Let's move on to the next one.
All right. I don't care who like what I have to say now at this point. Justin Herbert is not him. He's not a top 5 quarterback. He ain't. He's just not. He don't know how to win. He does not know how to win. There's no way that game with Tennessee should have been that close. Just not showing up in the moments where his team needs him most. And if we talk about fantasy value, Jesus, bro, like this guy has all the weapons that he needs and still somehow shows up short. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, okay, he's missing Austin Eckler. That's when he's supposed to nut up and get it done. He's not doing it. Flat out. No excuses.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of redeeming, though. If you got Justin Herbert, you probably got him in the 5th or 6th round just because it was kind of a teetering year since, personally, I can speak on it. The man has had 2 down years, at least a year and a half of down years in fantasy. It still hurts. So yes, I'm still mourning over that. But I will tell you though that even with all that being said, his fantasy production has actually looked very good thus far. That's why he's like quarterback 3 in most leagues. But I will let you know the other shoe is going to drop. The fall is coming. Yes, the pun is intended because fall is in like the next couple of days. But Justin Herbert is fool's gold, just like the way this team has been looking. They're 0-2. He's number 3 in fantasy. Is not here to stay.
Yeah, I don't expect it to hold up at all. But next up, we got Jalen Hurts. And to summarize it, in my opinion, that boy missing Shane Steichen, and it shows. I have nothing more to say than that. Like, actually, I'm sorry, I lied. The errant throws, the missing timing on routes, the lack of poise in the pocket. Granted, the play calling has been rough. I'll give him that. But at some point, you have to be the one to make the play. You're the guy in control of the ball. You're him, right? He's not showing it.
Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest with you. If whoever drafted this guy in the second or third round this year, you are going to be vastly disappointed because he's not looking like a top 3 fantasy quarterback. Truthfully, he's not looking like a top 5 fantasy quarterback because he can't throw. He's being figured out in real time. And yes, he lost Shane Steichen, but his OC's not doing him any favors. They could have ran on Minnesota all night. Yes, DeAndre Swift had 175 yards rushing. They should have had 400 yards rushing on them because they couldn't stop them. But he called pass after pass, and eventually they figured out, like, oh, we can run on this team. Well, yeah, no shit, you can run on this team. But
Let's not forget that that's what the offense has been predicated to for the last 3 consecutive years. It's amazing, right? I guess that's just beside the point. This next one brings joy to my heart because I've been saying that Joe Burrow ain't like that. And, he's showing y'all in real time.
I mean, this calf pull is really pulling the heartstrings.
I don't want to talk about no calf shit. Let's talk about this cash shit, bro. He's the highest paid quarterback in the league, and he's putting out like this. No excuses, bro. And you talking about fantasy value? We talking about fantasy? You took him in the 2nd or 3rd round, and you getting like 9 to 12 points maybe on a good day right now. And he hurting Jamar Chase's value. Get out of here.
Double-edged sword. It's hurting right now. The thing that hurts with Joe right now is, how do I say this? I always thought that Joe wasn't all that, and I always thought that the team propped him up. Similar to Jalen Hurts in a different way. This team is slowly falling apart. This is what happens to good young teams. They have this great roster that you're able to bolster up, and you have this rookie quarterback deal, and eventually you have the window and it fades, and you can't pay everybody. So the team gets worse. It's happening in real time, people. He had his chance. Now, let's see if they can recoup it and they can start getting veterans and make it happen. But for this year, it's a wrap. On to the next one. Justin Fields. Woo! You know my nickname for the man, Justin Fields, is 4+, and he has been playing just that because the 4+ sacks have been ensuing. Fields can't see the field. He just can't. And you know what? It's the media's fault. It's all y'all fault because y'all thought that he was going to have the progression of Jalen Hurts. Y'all thought that, they're going to go get some weapons. They're going to go make some trades and everything. And he's going to just take off like a rocket. Guess what? That rocket, it blew up before it took off because he's not all that. He can't throw and they're making him pass.
Dude, let's not forget that we're still talking about the Bears. Horrendous drafting. Like, how have we made it this far and y'all still haven't paid y'all still ain't paid or drafted an offensive line good enough to protect your 1st round draft asset? Yeah. Yeah, like not even. And then the boy slap happy. Either he's slap happy or blind. I don't know which one it is. I'll let the world decide.
I'll leave one more stat for you guys. Well, also I'll give you a recommendation and a stat. If you have Justin Fields and you picked him up, go get Sam Howell because he's probably available. Go get him. He's more consistent. He can throw better than he can, and he runs not as good, but you're going to get good production out of him. Go get him. And one more thing. If you don't believe me, Justin Fields has more interceptions and fumbles than he does touchdowns thrown. Let that sink in.
Yeah, man. Justin Fields is probably putting your team in fantasy purgatory. So just go ahead and get rid of that man. But, with that, we gonna give y'all the week 2 version of our start and stash. So talked about Kyron Williams last week. If it ain't self-explanatory, I don't know what it is. This motherfucker has
It broke after a minute.
It's natural, bro. It's natural, bro.
Hey, he had to gas your fantasy team because that would hurt. That would hurt you deep. I know you played against him. You had an affliction against that man.
2 tutties against the Niners.
Trust me, I traded him to Steve and got burned. I lost because of him.
Damn. Look, speaking from personal experience, we're gonna start with this man has had 2 solid showings and got Cam Akers riding the pine after 2 games and against 2 solid defenses. He's already got 3 touchdowns in 2 weeks, and he's the starting back for the foreseeable future. It's easy. It's simple. Stop playing with yourself. If he's available, go get him.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
He's an easy 8 to 14 points. Don't play yourself. Don't wait. Don't wait. Just go get him. Next up, Zach Moss. I know. The same Zach Moss I played for the Buffalo Bills a year ago. But do not be alarmed. Zach Moss is not the trendy pickup. And he's not a long-term option. But having him for 3 more weeks is better than having him for none of them weeks. Because he's a very valuable flex play at this point. You might as well go ahead and get your easy 8 to 14 points. Especially if Anthony Richardson's going to be there.
It's simple, right? Next, Matt Breida. Now, I know Matt Breida has been an on and off thing for the past couple seasons, but there's not a more viable handcuff in the league next to probably Elijah Mitchell and a guy that can plug and play as soon as his guy ahead of him goes down. It just makes too much sense. He's at least worth a stash because we know what Saquon goes through. Now, granted, Dabo said he's a quick healer. Look, I love Saquon. Let's be realistic. A high ankle sprain could be a couple weeks. He might play today. You never know. But at least go get Matt Breida. Shore yourself up, especially if you have Saquon.
Yeah, and let's be honest. If you're in the position where you need to go get Matt Breida, you got to get whatever you can take because you're not in a great position. He's a low end running back 3 flex plug and play. So I'm sorry if you're in this position, but enjoy your 5 to 10 points and take your hat in hand and go. Next up, Jerome Ford. I know y'all didn't even know who this name was before this week, but unfortunately, we had the devastating injury to Nick Chubb. I'll pray for him to get healthy as the best back in the league. You saw Jerome Ford on Monday Night Football. The Browns still have a great run offensive line, and Jerome Ford was getting busy. He was getting to it. You know you have to go add this man if you have the opportunity to. Don't wait. Go now, because if you don't, you'll be kicking yourself because he's definitely the starter and he's an easy 8. It will 10 to 14 points for you.
Now, little side tidbit, right? Little side tidbit, just to keep this in y'all's brains, though, right? Kareem Hunt is making a visit in Cleveland right now, so that could potentially impact Jerome Ford going forward. But in the right now, ain't no need to hesitate. Next on our list, though, 2 guys that you need to stash right now. Not now, but right now. If you don't have them on your roster already and they are available, don't wait. Listen to me. No, I'm not an expert. The name of the podcast is Don't Take Us Seriously. But listen to me, please. I'm begging you. Roshan Johnson and Tajay Spears. I've been knocking on this door all year. Tajay Spears gets more productive every week. Roshan Johnson gets more productive every week. Help yourself. These 2 guys will be starters in the league in at maximum 2 years. Probably leaning more towards the end of this year, beginning of next. Help yourself.
Let's go right into the wide receivers now. Let's not waste no more time. Nico Collins. Now, Nico, I know he was on the roster last year, but he's big enough, he's fast enough, and he's got good enough hands. And C.J. Stroud's been looking pretty good thus far. So as long as he's upright and able to keep slinging that rock like he has been able to, Nico's getting 20% of the target share. You just take the production where you could get it. The boy is an easy 8 to 14 points, and you won't kick yourself at all if you pick him up because you know what you're going to find.
Now, I'm going to make DJ sit on his sword again because this is the same man. I brought up Nico Collins earlier this year, and this man said, man, he just ain't that talented, dog. It don't matter when you get number 1 targets and you're clearly currently the best wide receiver on the roster. that don't seem to matter. Ask Puka Nakua. It just the real is the real.
The opportunity is there, so you got to take it while you can.
That's a fact. Next up, though, that boy Josh Reynolds, right? Clearly the number 2 guy. Obviously, in an offense that is slinging the pill. Since Jared Goff has been in Detroit, that's all they do. They had a stable of running backs, and now David Montgomery being down, and they're probably not going to want to lean on Jahmyr Gibbs immediately too heavily. Guess where the ball got to go? To them wide receivers. And like I said, Josh Reynolds is clearly the next man up. And with Amon-Ra drawing the double coverage and Jameson Williams still not being ready to play, you get a free potential 10 to 12 points. Yeah. And it's almost free, like free.
This is true. Let's go on to the tight ends, though. Actually, I'm gonna let you go on to the tight ends because this is your boy. You go ahead.
Now, those of you that know I'm a Pats fan, right? So this should be easy. And I've been caping for this man since he put on the blue and white. That boy Hunter Henry. That's mama. There goes that man. Him and Mac Jones, they telepathic with it. They locked in. They synced up. And if you can't tell, you must be Stevie Wonder. The fact that he's even still available is amazing to me, seeing as this is the same guy that when he's healthy has been almost 10 touchdowns a year at the tight end position. He is a top 5 guy when healthy and on the field. The numbers are there. It's simple. Go get your boy.
Next up, we've got the defenses. Now the Titans. These Titans have been playing fierce out here, but they've been playing fiercely underwhelming. They're going up against a team that's been even more underwhelming as of late, and this hurts as an Ohio native. I tell you, the Cleveland Browns they're facing. The facts are the facts. You can't avoid them. Deshaun Watson's leading the league in giveaways, and he's also top 5 in sacks. So that means for a great day for Harold Simon. That means for a great day for Jeffrey Simmons. Cue up the Titans, because they're also good against the run. So that means for probably a harder day for Ford, even though it's a great old line with the Browns.
Yeah, the Titans are an easy pick here, man. Like, no matter, it's funny. Again, make DJ sit on this sword. Again, last week, I told him, I said, bro, the Titans defense is crazy. And guess what? They showed up. Mm-hmm. They continuously prove me right. And it's easy here. It's easy here. But the last but not least, Seattle's defense. Dude, I don't know what's up, man. Like, they give up points, but they come up when they need to come up. And in this week, the matchup is free, low key. I know DJ's about to come at me with the Bryce Young hate. Very much so. I don't feel like hearing this stuff right now. This matchup is in Seattle's favor. And if you, like he said, if you streaming defenses week to week, this is the week to go get Seattle.
Yes, because for sure, because they're playing Carolina, and it is not going to be a good day for Bryce Young. I don't even know some of the defensive linemen for the Seahawks, but it does not matter because either way, Bryce Young can't see over them as well as he can't see over his offensive line. Sorry, Carolina. Seattle, you better stream them because they are going to tee off on him. But that's all we got for this week, guys. We'll catch you guys on the next episode, though. Don't take it seriously. Peace.